I don't want to go too deep into detail because I think this is a very divisive subject, but we've had some questions in the YouTube chat about Eric Reid, the safety from San Francisco. Talented guy, has had some ebbs and flows in terms of production and all of that with the 49ers. Obviously, when the Niners defense was at its best under Jim Harbaugh, and they were making, the championship games, the Super Bowl, all of that, Reid was a big part of that. A very insanely talented defense. Still made a lot of plays. He's now a free agent, and he's kind of coming out saying he thinks he's blackballed like his teammate Colin Kaepernick because he and Kaepernick knelt during the anthem. I don't want to go into the whole thing. I guess it's a little bit a part of the discussion. What about Eric Reid to the Bengals? And is this a team that can handle, I don't want to call it, but attention?
Yeah, and it's hard to say. The free agent market is very different than it was a few years ago with all these rookie contracts. Teams are kind of waiting till after the draft and say, hey, if they're not somebody we're really targeting, we'll just draft. And if the draft doesn't fall our way, then we'll call the guy and pay him. So, if he doesn't get signed within the first week after the draft, I think he might have a pretty good gripe about, not being allowed to play. But I think he should be on the Bengals' radar. If he wants to come in and play for a reasonable salary, and you can cut a guy like John Williams and save cap or whatever, just play all three of them. I think he's an option for them. And I think you have to look – I think it will be a telling sign, too, about his brother from Stanford, how he gets drafted, right? If he suddenly, slides to the third round, there might be the whole guilty by association.
Yeah.
They don't want to bring him in because it might bring other stuff when he's clearly like a late first round, early second round talent. So I think the draft will kind of settle out where he ends up going, but I think he'll get signed. I don't think that's a problem. I think part of it is these guys want to get paid more than they want to get paid, than teams are willing to pay. So part of it is that too, So anyways, yeah, that's kind of – I think he should be a guy that the Bengals should target after the draft, depending on how the draft falls. Because if they end up taking a safety early, then there's no sense.
Yeah, and it also, there's been a lot of talk, whether it's whatever you think about it. The Bengals have spent more in free agency than they expected. Well, whatever. But, if he's got a team – they had their sights on Kurt Coleman, a guy who made a lot of – again, one of those guys who was a good player, but kind of surrounded by a lot of talent that on a defense. So, kind of a similar situation. And you have to look at scheme fit, though. And I think if you know anything about Terrell Lawson and you know anything about what the Bengals are trying to do this offseason from 2 straight losing seasons, is create more wow plays, more big plays, more turnovers. Carl Lawson had the 8.5 sacks, but didn't force a fumble on any of those sacks. So strip fumbles, need to get the interceptions, the pick sixes, all that kind of stuff. Maybe a guy like Reid provides that. I still don't know. It's not, I don't want to go so far into the thing.
Let's wait till a week after the draft, and then.
Yeah. I don't know how well this locker room and how well this team can handle certain aspects of attention, bad or good. We've seen this team in areas and see this team. I said this a few weeks ago when someone asked about what about Colin Kaepernick now that A.J. McCarron's gone. I don't know if this team, a lot of other teams, whether you agree or disagree with what Kaepernick and Reid are doing, a lot of other teams are equipped to better handle these certain types of PR issues and things like that. I don't know that the Bengals have that infrastructure to be able to handle that. That's what I worry about. Now, a safety is a much lower profile position than a quarterback. So that definitely takes some heat off of the Bengals should they explore that. But you have to look at overall scheme fit. You have to look at cost, the entire thing. I think in theory, in terms of helping your football team, it's a good idea, but we'll see.